I am going to start with some positive for San Diego State, at least overall. And it's going to be a big shout out to the Lady Aztecs because San Diego State, the women's basketball team did punch their ticket last night. And apologies, I don't really know if they were already in, but either way, they are definitely in now. They did take down Wyoming last night, so shout out to the Lady Aztecs. I want to say like maybe 10 years ago, they had a nice little run in the women's. They actually, I think they fell to Duke, or at least they took down Duke, but it was a Sweet 16 run. So who knows? Maybe they can capture some of that magic again, because unfortunately, their male counterparts, as we alluded to earlier, San Diego State Aztecs, they fell today 62-52 to Boise State, which I texted Raider Jim. I think it was either this morning or last night. Essentially, Boise State versus San Diego State, two bubble teams. San Diego State was last four in. Boise State was last four out, if you believe Joe Lunardi. And then Boise State just took down San Diego State in the conference tournament. For me, I think it's pretty simple. I think that was an elimination game, a play-in game, call it whatever you want. But unfortunately for the Aztecs, they got to call it a loss. And that's exactly what happened. I can't speak to it. I've been unfortunately at work all day and I didn't want to turn the game on and be distracted. So, but as Raider Jim said, I think what you said, 19 points in the second half, because they were up 5 when I checked earlier at work. I checked on Google and they were up 5 at the half.
And absolutely cold the last 5 minutes.
And just, it's really, really unfortunate because I had such high expectations for the Aztecs coming into this year, because I really did think they had something they haven't in a while. And that was length at the guard position. I think one of the biggest problems, the last 2 years, who have they fallen to? UConn. And the guard depth and the length of the guards, among other things. Trust me, it wasn't just that, but that would have helped. And I don't know. Unfortunately, the Aztecs did not get it done this year. There may be some people out there that think the Aztecs still are deserving of an at-large bid, but I personally am not one of them. I think this team is NIT bound. At least that's what they deserve. As much as it pains me to say it, this is where I kind of get away from expanding the tournament, because look, if we're up to 76 or 78 or 80 teams, however the math works, whatever we move up to, then maybe today didn't matter. And it would be really selfish of me last week or whenever we talk about tournament expansion for me to say, no. And then the next week when it's like, oh, it might actually affect my team, I'm going to be on board now. But no, I don't think this team deserves to go to the tournament. That's the long and short of it. If they go, fantastic. I'll be there cheering. But they're definitely going to be playing in a play-in game, best case scenario, and they're going to need some help, I believe. Now, elsewhere, obviously, because we're just talking about the Mountain West quarterfinals here. So we are going to have the finale of this tournament on Saturday. It's usually at 3:00. I don't know. Oh yeah, they do have times here, but it's not filling in. Okay. So, but yeah, we'll be on Saturday, usually about 3 Pacific. I think it's usually on big CBS, so that's good. But heading into today, obviously, New Mexico was the 1 seed. They won the regular season championship. They took down the 8 seed San Jose State by 11. There was in the play-in games, or at least the first round, if you will, it was all pretty much chalk. San Jose State, Nevada, and UNLV were all the higher seeds. They all advanced over Wyoming, Fresno State, and Air Force, respectively. And San Diego State losing to Boise State. Later tonight, we'll have Colorado State and Nevada. That's the 2-7 matchup. And Utah State against UNLV. And you can pretty much say at UNLV because, again, it's at Thomas and Mack. So UNLV always has that home court advantage no matter what, as the 6th seed. Now, overall for the Mountain West, personally, I think this conference has always been a 3-bid league. It was just a question of whether or not it was going to be Colorado State, Boise State, or San Diego State. Colorado State was lagging very far behind those two. But I personally, like I said, I think San Diego State is now eliminated from that conversation. Colorado State will have to take care of Nevada, and it would be a situation where they'd probably have to at least advance to the conference championship. They're probably going to need to win to get in. I legitimately think Boise State punched their ticket today. And now it's just a question of whether or not Colorado State can do enough. I don't think they can. And then if they do somehow steal a bid, you wonder if the NCAA just says, hey, it's real easy to cannibalize the Mountain West and let's just leave Boise State out. But we'll see. A lot going on there. And, I'm obviously not paid to do this stuff, but a lot of my thoughts on these things are more what I've read from the experts. I'm not going to lie. I don't have a spreadsheet. I don't have a brand palm myself, my own thing. Like, I am relying on the experts here, but personally, like I said, I just think it's real easy to look at today and say San Diego State, Boise State, you're both bubble teams. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. The loser's bubble bursts. And that was San Diego State. It's very, very unfortunate. But a lot of success from the Aztecs over the past few years. I don't have the exact number, but it's probably going to be the first time in 4, 5, 6 years that this team hasn't made the tournament. It's unfortunate, but as my dad used to say, sometimes it's best to go to the NIT. And who knows, San Diego State might make a little bit of waves, maybe bring home an NIT championship. Nothing wrong with that. Get a couple more home games.
Question for you. Do you believe that if they get the invite, they will go to the NIT, or do you think they'll just take a pass?
I'll be honest with you. First and foremost, I understand certain teams, if Kentucky's on a down year, if UCLA's on a down year, and obviously those teams aren't, but if you got a blue blood, if Kansas, if everything had fallen off for Kansas, I could see them saying no. I don't think Brian Dutcher, I don't think San Diego State would do that, would say no to that. I think because the other part of the NIT is, if San Diego State makes the NIT, they're going to be a top seed, maybe not the top seed, but a top seed. I think it's 1 through 8 for brackets is how they do it. So maybe they get a 1 or a 2 seed, but I do know the first 2 games, I believe, are on the higher seeds floor. So if you get a 1 or a 2, you're guaranteed at least 1 extra home game, maybe 2. And I'll tell you this right now, like 10, 12 years ago, San Diego State was in the NIT. Me and my father went, and it was the NIT like Elite 8, like, because the Final 4 is in New York. So it was the final essentially home game, and they played Georgia Tech. And tickets were incredibly expensive. We sat all the way up to where there is no back on the seat. So there is a hunger for it, obviously, and this was well before national championships. And I'll never forget it because me and my dad, we watched the game, and there was a guy sitting behind us, and he was a Georgia Tech fan there by himself, and we were just talking with him, and he was there for business, and he was a Georgia Tech alum and had just kind of been like, oh, hey, wow, they're going to play, might as well. And he said, he goes, I went to plenty of basketball games, and he goes, I've never seen an atmosphere like this. And really? and he did say, he's like, I haven't gone to Tobacco Road. He's like, mainly Georgia Tech. He said he, been to the Georgia Dome, stuff like that to see basketball, wow, which is, it's hard to get an atmosphere in big places like that. But anyways, so just the point of, I do think financially it's more money, and I don't think San Diego State's big time enough to be big timing the NIT. I'm sorry. Right. I would hope that that's not the case. Will I be tuning out of the NCAA tournament to watch the NIT San Diego State? No, but I certainly hope they take their invite and put on a really good performance. Because again, if you make it deep in there, you're going to be playing on a Tuesday night when everyone's waiting for the Sweet 16. Oh, hey, here's some college basketball. Eyes on the program. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. But that's an interesting thought. It crossed my mind, but I think there's like 12 teams that can big time the NIT and nobody bats an eye in, and I don't think San Diego State's one of them. I don't even know if Gonzaga is one of them, if I'm being honest. But maybe they are, because they wouldn't even know what the NIT is. They're like, wait, what? No, we're not. We don't play home games in March. But anyways, right.